The new is coming. 12025, 1,261 days sober. Thank you, God. Story 1,432, freestyle. I love lamp breath, thus they come. Today, the addiction is suffering, that I call the first rule of Fight Club, or internal dictatorship, or four-wall establishment. That is the generational curses that we are all a part of unknowingly, because the system stays ahead of us by what I call 20 years in the past, latency periods, and 20 years in the future, never ever in the present moment, creating an unchangeable future. So all of that has developed into freedom of speech that keeps us locked into current events, focused on the mirage of freedom, or self-sabotage, never ever touching the truth of our stolen power of creativity. I call it the story given. The system stays ahead of us, pun intended, as I will explain in a second. This is deep, but it is why we are encapsulated into the prison of our own minds, or think the story is so entrenched and ingrained into our DNA, fleas in a jar. I call them heavy burdens or generational curses that we have to go back before the story that undetectably, spiritually runs the whole operation that is ran on man's biggest fear, death. Here, let's work backwards from freedom of speech and take this universal addiction to suffering back 500 years. Questioning the first rule of Fight Club, it would be off with my head in a guillotine. So now we have the mirage of freedom, because they don't whack us off in a public setting anymore, burned at the stake, made as an example if you try to escape. Now, let's go back further. The heavy burden that we cannot lift, that is so entrenched and ingrained into our DNA, the stealing of our power. It has become an immovable object. That is why we can no longer create or comprehend or build our own pyramids. We can no longer lift the massive boulders with our minds, aka imagination turned off, of which you know by now I call it the religious paradigm or future, all creative powers turned off, or the flip-flop. We are convinced we never had the power to begin with, because the truth died as a compromise of honesty through this play I call facts and faith. Science is the religion. Religion is the science. Facts are the visual shadows of truth, appearance only. Facts are not sufficient. Partial truths, combined with the cornered market of faith. Unable to think for ourselves anymore, because the story given that can only work as historical facts, with the promise of the reward when the game is over. Faith in something beyond this realm. I think that is enough new for today. Now, let's go back to the beginning of how fear or the devil started. I call it, you must see the matrix, called phobia was born. And then how to fix the matrix or escape the story given. Giving back your ability to control the simulation, called hard reset. If you are on this plane or parallel universe with me, be excited, my friend. The new is coming. The old regime is dying. The mirage, we're starting to see through it. The expansion of consciousness. We are coming back into one. Here, I hope you enjoy it. Phobia was born and hard reset. Hashtag help each other. Thank God. Love you guys.